Hello and welcome back to Pony Tales, the YouTube show in which I read My Little Pony Friendship is Magic fanfictions. My name is Scribbler, and today we have The Importance of Being Earth Ponies by Bookplayer. It is labelled as comedy and slice of life, and the summary reads, Apple Bloom is left alone and bored while Scootaloo is learning to fly and Sweetie Belle is learning magic. Applejack sees that her sister feels less special because she's an earth pony and decides to get Pinkie Pie's help in teaching the filly about why earth ponies are so important.
Agriculture is so important to me and should be to you. Hey! The world and will never ever cease to be. We need to aid. We all need farmers to provide us with the food. Working farmer style. Farmer style. Work. Working farmer style. Farmer style. Work.
Apple Bloom was lonely and bored. It was a sunny morning on Sweet Apple Acres, and Applejack and Big Macintosh were busy bucking apples. They didn't seem to have noticed Apple Bloom's emotional state, so she decided the best way to make them notice was to be lonely and bored closer to them. She walked up to the next tree over from Applejack and sighed. Applejack just turned to buck another tree. Apple Bloom sighed louder. As Applejack trotted over to the tree across the row and gave that one a buck. As Applejack turned to the tree Apple Bloom was standing under, the filly heaved an exaggerated sigh. Applejack looked surprised. Something wrong, little sis? I'm bored. Why don't you go and find Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo? I bet y'all can find something you haven't tried for getting your cutie marks, like not getting in trouble. Scootaloo is getting flying lessons, and Sweetie Belle is practicing magic. Apple Bloom sighed again. Being an earth pony stinks. Applejack's eyes went wide. Now, Apple Bloom, you know that ain't true. I don't ever want to hear you talking that way. Being an earth pony is a special thing, and it's something y'all ought to be proud of. Apple Bloom looked down and pawed at the dirt. Yeah, it's real special how my friends can do neat stuff and I'm stuck here with nothing to do. Nothing to do? There's a whole farm here that needs taking care of, Applejack pointed out. Great. Apple Bloom rolled her eyes. Scootaloo learns to fly, Sweetie Belle learns to do magic, and I get to do chores. Applejack walked over to her sister and put a foreleg around her. Well now, chores are important, but that's not all being an earth pony is about. If Scootaloo is going to learn to fly and Sweetie Belle is starting to learn magic, I reckon it's time y'all ought to learn about being an earth pony. Apple Bloom looked down at all four of her hooves on the ground. I think I got it figured out, sis. Applejack shook her head. If that's all you think it is, we ought to have a little talk. And I know some pony has the best darn thing to show you about what's so great about being an earth pony. Twilight Sparkle? Ha! Applejack laughed, then shook her head as she started towards town. Nope. I reckon even Twilight don't understand this. It ain't something a unicorn would think to learn. No, Sugar Cube, we're gonna go and see Pinkie Pie. Apple Bloom just stared at her. The Apple family were earth ponies in every way possible, but there was nothing earth-like about Pinkie Pie. She seemed to defy nature in a way even unicorns and Pegasi couldn't keep up with. Apple Bloom wasn't sure how anything about Pinkie applied to regular earth ponies, or what she might have that Applejack thought was a better way of showing what being an earth pony meant than something on the farm. But the filly took off after her sister anyway. Whatever this was, a trip to Sugar Cube Corner beat watching Applejack buck apples, hooves down. As the sisters stepped into Sugar Cube Corner, Pinkie Pie was setting a box on the counter for the last customer in the store. The aqua unicorn took it and left, and Applejack stepped up to the counter.
Hi, Applejack. Hi, Apple Bloom. Need something yummy today?
Pinkie asked cheerfully. Actually, I was wondering if you'd help me about talking to Apple Bloom about something. Y'all got a few minutes where we could talk in private? Applejack said.
Sure. Let me tell Mrs. Cake,
Pinkie said, darting back to the kitchen. A few seconds later, she came back out and led the Apple sisters upstairs to her room. In Pinkie's room, Apple Bloom stared into the vacant purple eyes of Gummy the alligator, while Pinkie said to Applejack,
What are we talking about? Are we planning a surprise party? That will be fun!
No parties today, Pinkie. It seems Apple Bloom's a little sad, Applejack explained.
Oh no! Why are you sad?
Suddenly, Apple Bloom wasn't staring at Gummy, but at Pinkie. Pinkie was inches from Apple Bloom's face, her huge blue eyes full of concern, the strange alligator perched on her head. Well, 'cause I can't do magic or fly. I'm just an earth pony, Apple Bloom explained, biting her lip. Pinkie's concern flashed into a huge grin.
I know! Isn't it neat?
She don't think it's all that neat, Applejack said. She needs some pony to help her see that, and I figured the two of us could do it, and maybe show her that thing you got tucked away.
Oh, this is gonna be fun! Story time!
Pinkie shouted, with a force that pushed Apple Bloom into a sitting position. Applejack sat down next to her, and Pinkie plopped down in front of them both and started.
Once upon a time, before the first hearthwarming, before ponies had cities or towns or farms or candy, back when Princess Celestia was just a little fool like you, the world was weird. The whole world was like the ever-free forest. Clouds moved themselves, plants grew wherever they wanted, and wild animals all acted like wild animals.
Apple Bloom was unimpressed by this revelation. What Pinkie's saying is they took care of themselves. There were no ponies to do it, Applejack explained.
Right, but the weirdest thing of all was that the ponies acted like wild animals too. They didn't have houses or farms. They slept outside or in caves and ate whatever food they could find. And they couldn't find a single cupcake tree, so every pony was very sad all the time. The worst was winter. During the winter, the Pegasi all flew south with the birds, and the unicorns used magic to keep warm. And all the earth ponies could do was huddle together to caves and try to keep warm.
Apple Bloom raised an eyebrow. Y'all sure this is supposed to tell me why it's good to be an earth pony? Pinkie smiled and nodded.
Yep, because one day an earth pony discovered something amazing. Something no pony else had ever figured out.
What was that? Apple Bloom asked.
Cupcakes, of course.
Apple Bloom looked to her sister for a better explanation. Fire, Applejack said. Earth ponies figured out how to use fire.
Right, and with fire they could stay warm and cook food, and when they could cook food, they could make stoves and ovens, and with stoves and ovens you can make...
Pinkie looked at Apple Bloom expectantly. Cupcakes?
You got it!
Pinkie squealed with a giant grin. That's nice, Pinkie, Apple Bloom said kindly. But didn't that just let us do what the other ponies could already do? Keep him warm and all? That's true, Sugar Cube, Applejack cut in. But a funny thing happened. Soon as we figured fire, the Pegasi stopped going south in the winter, and the unicorns stopped using their magic for heat. Every pony started using fire, because every pony could use fire. Even the Pegasi, who weren't all that good at flying, or unicorns who weren't that good at magic. Pinkie nodded.
Then there was food. Even with the very sad lack of cupcake trees, there was food around. But it grew all over the place, willy-nilly, topsy-turvy, sometimes even helter-skelter. The Pegasi had to fly all over the place to find it, and the unicorns had to teleport. Whoosh! and the Earth Ponies would walk miles and miles searching for it.
I bet the Earth Ponies figured out farming, growing food all in one place so they wouldn't have to go looking for it, Apple Bloom said with a smile. Pinkie smiled back.
Well, you're catching on.
Girls are natural, Applejack agreed.
Farming made it so the Earth Ponies could settle down and build villages and cities,
Pinkie explained.
Soon, every pony got their food from Earth Pony farmers, so they all built cities and towns too.
But why'd they get their food from Earth Ponies when they were getting it fine before? Apple Bloom asked. Pinkie licked her lips with a loud smack.
Because food from Earth Pony farms was really yummy, and ponies knew it would always be there. And any pony could buy the yummiest food, not just the Pegasi who were good at spotting it from the ear, or the unicorns who knew the spells to pull fruit from trees.
Applejack put her foreleg around her sister's shoulder. Now, we gotta remember that we can't live like we do today without the Pegasi and the unicorns. Pegasi figured out how to control the weather, and we're darn thankful for that. And unicorns get all sorts of ways of doing useful things with magic. Since the first hearthwarming, we've all been in this together.
Absolutely, positively,
Pinkie said with a definite nod.
Every pony needs every pony else, no matter what kind of pony they are. And that's why Earth Ponies are still so important.
Apple Bloom stared at Pinkie, confused. I don't get it. Earth Ponies are important because we did some things before, and we need Pegasi and unicorns today?
No, silly, because every pony needs every pony.
Applejack smiled at Pinkie. I think it's time you show her. Pinkie hopped from her sitting position several feet into the air.
Good idea. Come on.
Applejack and Apple Bloom followed Pinkie as she bounced down the stairs, through the store, and down to the basement of Sugar Cube Corner. She turned on the light, revealing a storeroom full of sacks of flour and sugar, and in one corner a large blanket covering a strangely shaped form. The sisters stopped in front of the blanket, and Pinkie grabbed it from her mouth and tugged it off.
Ta-da!
Before Apple Bloom was a strange contraption made of pipes painted like candy canes, with 4 pedals and a fan on top that reminded her of Tank, the tortoise's flying device. Apple Bloom turned her head to one side, confused. What is it? This here is a flying machine Pinkie built. Y'all just pedal those things, and before you know it, you're in the air, Applejack explained. So, an Earth Pony can fly like a Pegasus? Apple Bloom asked.
Nope! So every pony can fly like every pony, Pinkie said.
Applejack pointed at the pedals. What do y'all need to fly that thing, Apple Bloom? Well, nothing but 4 legs, I guess, Apple Bloom said with a shrug. Applejack nodded. Right. An Earth Pony can fly this, but so can a unicorn or a Pegasus if they wanted. It might be nice to have wings, but that don't do you any good if they get broken or don't work too well. Long as you got 4 legs, this'll work.
Some ponies smarter than me could probably make one that works with less. Some ponies don't have 4 legs that work, and every pony is important,
Pinkie pointed out. Every pony sure is important, Applejack agreed, nodding. Look at the way we do in a wrap-up. Now, I hear tell that other cities use magic, and that might work well enough sometimes. But what if the unicorns get sick? Winter wrap-up would be late, and all the Earth Ponies and Pegasi will be standing here in the snow staring at each other. Here, we do things the Earth Pony way, and even if every darn Earth Pony in town is sick, the unicorns and Pegasi could at least get started on things.
And the super speedy cider squeezy. Those minis ran that thing on unicorn magic, so they couldn't make it go any faster without making yucky cider. They couldn't just ask for help. You guys do things the Earth Pony way, so all of your friends could help you, even Pegasi and unicorns.
Apple Bloom smiled. The Earth Pony way is making it so that every pony can do something, so that every pony can help and work together. That's right, sis. We use our brains and we use our muscles. And the Earth Pony way sticks around, because what's good enough for an Earth Pony is good enough for any pony.
Applejack?
Pinkie Pie? Apple Bloom said with a grin. It's really neat to be an earth pony.
Yes, it is.
Pinkie agreed, scooping both sisters into a group hug. A few hours later, Apple Bloom was waiting at the clubhouse when Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle came back. She had been drawing something on a piece of paper, but she dropped her pencil and grinned at her friends as they came through the door.
How'd the lessons go? Can y'all fly and do magic? Well, not exactly, Sweetie Belle admitted.
Scootaloo looked down at the floor.
I mean, it's hard to fly. It takes a lot of work.
Sweetie Belle nodded.
Yeah, and magic is hard too. That's okay. I've been having earth pony lessons, and I think I got it down now. We can try to get our cutie marks the earth pony way,
Apple Bloom said.
What's the earth pony way to get a cutie mark?
Scootaloo asked, cautiously curious. Apple Bloom smiled.
The same way we always do it, without magic or flying, with our own hoofs, every kind of pony working together.
Sweetie Belle perked right up.
I love the earth pony way. Yeah, the earth pony way is cool,
Scootaloo said, smiling as she seemed to forget about her slow progress.
Can we still use the scooter?
Sure we can, long as you feel like it. But we don't have to use the scooter if you ever don't feel like it, Apple Bloom explained with a smile.
Great, let's go,
Scootaloo shouted.
Where are we going?
Asked Sweetie Belle. Apple Bloom stuck the paper she was writing on in her saddlebag. The hardware store. I got these plans for this thing I saw, and we're gonna need some pipes and pedals. You're gonna love this one, Scootaloo. Maybe we can get all our cutie marks in flying. That was The Importance of Being Earth Ponies. It was written by Bookplayer and read by Scribbler. Okay, thank you very much for listening. This was actually a suggestion by one of my listeners, Jordan the Brinkinator, whose name I will never ever be able to say or think without also hearing the Trogdor theme. So, hey, Trogdor. Any more suggestions from people, please pop them in the comments below. I will get to them as and when. I have very little else to say about this. Thank you very much for listening. Comments, suggestions, anything else you feel like saying, provided it's not obscene, in the comments below, and I hope to see you next time. Hear you next time. You know the drill. Be lovely to each other, and good night, everybody.